Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Recently I've been kind of dry on video ideas, so I asked you all in my community post to give me some, and one that stood out to me was where someone asked me to rank all of the post-produced artists, which basically meant taking all of the members that used to be in a group formed by an Mnet produced series, such as I.O.I, IZ*ONE, ONEUS, or X1, and ranking them based on my own personal opinions. However, my fellow KTuber AxiStan has two videos on her channel where she basically did the same thing, so I was thinking of ways to try and make it my own. So today, I'll be ranking all of the post-produced group soloists, male and female, and be excluding all of the groups in this video, which means we'll be seeing artists such as Chungha, Woods, and Somi in this video, but not groups such as IVE, LE SSERAFIM, or AB6. Now, if you count post-produced group members who have done OSTs as soloists, then you could actually argue that there are over 20 post-produced soloists. But in order to make this video a lot easier for me, I'm only going to be including a solo artist in this video if they've released an album as a soloist that you can physically go out and buy. So if they've only done OSTs, or maybe you've only released a digital single, then they don't count, which means that Wikimiki's Yoojung and Doyeon, as well as ONEUS's Jaehwan, will not be included in this video, so sorry if you were looking forward to that. That means that there will be 17 solo artists included in this video, and since this introduction has already gone on for way too long, let's just jump right in and start with number 17. So in last we have Hyolyn from IZ*ONE, and I basically only have her in last because she has one mini album and it's just a ballad album, which unfortunately is my least favorite genre of music. I think the songs are very beautiful and they fit her voice very well. They're set in a deeper tone, so she's really able to use the best parts of her voice in them. But since I'm not a ballad enjoyer, there's nothing in these songs that would ever make me want to go back to them. And even when I do like a ballad, it's always gonna be a power ballad, so these softer, more chill ones aren't really my thing. Hyolyn was actually one of my IZ*ONE biases, so I do have a soft spot for her, but as a solo artist, I don't really see what she brings to the table, at least not for me personally, and that's why she's in last place. In 16th, we have Jisung from ONEUS, and his story is basically the same one as Hyolyn's. He does though have one more upbeat, poppier song that actually features Changbin from Stray Kids of all people, which I thought was interesting, but it wasn't really enough to keep me interested in him as a soloist. When I watched the second season of Produce 101 after it ended, by the way, he was actually one of my favorites, and I think he's a super sweet guy, but do I really care for his music? No, not that much. I wish the best for him in his musical career, but unfortunately his stuff just isn't for me, and that's why he's number 16. Make the lemonade. Alright, so number 15 is Eunseung from X1, and Eunseung actually doesn't only have ballads in his discography, but unfortunately the stuff that he puts out is still not really to my taste. He has more like nostalgic pop songs that are both full of emotion and somehow lighthearted at the same time. I think these songs are lovely, but I kind of get bored when I listen to them. These kind of songs seem to lack any sort of memorability or catchy hooks, and they're not pieces of music that will really stay in your mind once you're done hearing them. For me personally, I'll hear one of his songs and I'll be like, okay, moving on. And that's not really the kind of reaction that you want your audience to have when they listen to your music. And I'm sure that's not what happens to everybody, but that's what happens to me, at least. I think his solo career is actually on hold for now because he just recently debuted in the company's new group, Unite, which is a 4th-gen boy group that I actually view to be pretty promising, so hopefully he'll be able to regain my attention there. But yeah, as a solo artist, he's unfortunately not reaching any spot higher than number 15. At number 14, we have Johan, who was the center of X1. Now, I actually really like Johan. I casually stan the group that he's currently in, WayV, and considering he's one of my favorite members in that group, I was super excited that he was going to be releasing his first solo album this January. But unfortunately, I had my expectations pretty high, and his music didn't really meet any of them. He went for a solo debut that was on the sexy side, and visually, every single thing that he put out was more than good enough for me. But I think the mini album musically lacked a huge sense of oomph to it. I don't think Johan is the best vocalist, so a lot of his vocal moments sounded very underwhelming, to be honest. And in addition to vocally, there was nothing composition-wise that really impressed me within his mini-album. I know Johan has huge potential to make it big as a solo artist, but his mini-album felt like a big missed opportunity, so if he does release more solo music, I hope that he can put something out that has a bit more character to it. Because right now, I think Johan lacks a big sense of identity as a solo artist, and that's why he's number 14. And 13th, we have Han Sangwoo from X1, not to be confused with Ong Sangwoo from 101. And for the first time on this list, I can confidently say that Sangwoo has some good music that I actually do enjoy. I think he's a fantastic vocalist who's able to show off all of his talents and his personality within his songs. But being realistic, looking at his solo discography compared to all of the other post-produce group soloists, I don't think he really matches up to the rest of them. He has nice music that I can enjoy, but I don't enjoy his music more than the people I put above him on this list. And if somebody asked me to recommend them just a few K-pop solo artists for them to listen to, he unfortunately wouldn't make the cut for my recommendation list. He's also in Victon, and I frankly like Victon's music as a group more than his music as a solo artist. So I also don't really have much anticipation for him to release another solo album, which is why he's pretty low on this list, unfortunately. In 12th, we have Yuri from IZ*ONE, and from what I've seen from Yuri stans, they are incredibly toxic, so I hope they don't find this video. So I like Yuri stuff. Glassy was actually pretty high when I made that video ranking my top title tracks from 2021. But her discography that isn't OSTs consists of 3 songs, and none of them are exceptional enough to the point where I would put her above anybody else number 11 or above. I like the musical direction that she's taking, but I don't know exactly what her musical identity is yet. But maybe when she has another comeback, I'll like it enough to where I'll put her higher on this list if I ever recreate this video. But right now, I'll sit her comfortably at number 12, and I think that's appropriate for a solo artist that only has a few songs. In 11th, we have Ong Sangwoo from 101, and despite having more chill, relaxed songs, he actually lies more in the acoustic power ballad kind of genre, and as I said before, that is exactly the kind of laid-back music that I love. Sangwoo has an amazing voice, maybe my favorite voice out of all of the soloists on this list, and it's so strong to where it's like, even though he releases ballads, I feel like I can't not enjoy them. Though my favorite song of his is Bye Bye, which is a B-side that's more on the pop side. He sadly kind of has actor syndrome right now, and he actually hasn't released music for 2 years at this point, which, along with the fact that he doesn't have too much music, is one of the reasons why he's pretty low on this list. If you're looking for a really strong vocalist with some really nice ballads, I definitely would recommend him, but if you are gonna get into our number 11 placer on this list, then I wouldn't get too attached because he probably won't be releasing anything new anytime soon. In 10th, we have Kim Sejong from I.O.I, and our first I.O.I girl on this list actually. First of all, if you don't know her from K-pop, you probably know her from Business Proposal, and though she does typically stick to OSTs, she has one really nice mini album that she released last year that put her this high on this list. The title track for it was Warning, and I just think the entire mini album has a very emotional and nostalgic feeling to it, and though that's something that I said for a lot of the people number 11 to 17, I think Sejong did it the best out of all of them. To be honest though, I forgot that that mini album existed, and I don't think I listened to it in full until a few months ago, but when I did finally get around to it, I enjoyed all of the songs that I heard. She focuses more on her acting career, which I get because she's much more famous as an actor than a singer nowadays, but her solo music isn't half bad, and I wanted to give credit where credit is due, so that's why she's number 10. At number 9, we have Park Ji-hoon from 101. And I definitely do enjoy Park Ji-hoon's music, but the only reason why he isn't higher is that I feel like it's kind of basic. He mostly has pretty fun and upbeat tracks which don't really differentiate from each other in sound, so they kind of blend together and aren't memorable. So he has a lot of really good tracks individually, but when you look at his entire discography as a whole, there's not much substance there. One thing that I look for in my favorite artists is diversity in their discography, and that's not something that Park Ji-hoon excels at. So his style that's pretty formulaic and safe isn't for me. He does have good stuff, but in my opinion it just doesn't have too much longevity, and that's why he's number 9. In 8th, we have Sungwoon from ONEUS, and I kind of view him as a mix between Jihoon and Sejong, at least in the music factor. He has a great combination of both really good pop songs and really good ballads, and his title track Sneakers from 2021 was one of my all-time favorite songs of that year. He's not the most diverse artist, but when you compare him to everybody lower on this list, he's definitely a step up, and since he's such a powerhouse belter, all of his vocals are just incredible to listen to. His B-sides especially are so relaxing to listen to, they kind of lie on the border between lo-fi and coffee house music, and if all of his music was as good as Sneakers and the album that came along with it, I would definitely stan him, but unfortunately his releases are kind of hit or miss for me. But I do view him as a very competent and interesting artist, so that's why he deserves the number 8 spot on this list. In the 7th spot, we have Somi, who used to be in I.O.I. I do really like Somi. I think she has a golden personality on screen, and I think some of her songs like Birthday, What You Waiting For, and Watermelon are just excellent. I'm not the biggest fan of Dum Dum or XOXO. I actually found them to be kind of boring, but she does have some good peaks in her discography. But she ranks 7th on this list because her discography is extremely small. As far as I know, she only has 8 official songs to her name, minus a collaboration with Eric Nam, which would make 9. And that really isn't enough for me to view her as a fully fleshed out artist. Considering she debuted in 2019, you could say that she has 4 years of experience as a solo artist under her belt, and having 8 songs is really not enough, not even close. But I guess we can't be too surprised because she's under the Black label, which is directly affiliated to YG, which manages artists such as Blackpink. I like Somi, I think she has some good music, but she's gonna need a lot more of it if she wants to be higher on this list, and that's why she sits at number 7. At number 6, we have Woods, also known as Sungyeon from X1. And to be frank, prior to his latest 2 comebacks, he would have been much higher on this list. His first 2 mini albums that had the title tracks Love Me Harder and Bump Bump respectively are so amazing to me, but unfortunately the musical direction that he's taken recently hasn't been much to my liking. Ever since 2021, he's taken on a musical image that's much more angsty, and while I can appreciate that the music is probably objectively good, it's really just not to my taste. I'm happy still enjoying him as an artist if I just listen to those first 2 albums, and I enjoy that he's experimenting with new ideas as an artist, but personally I just don't really care for his new image, and that's okay. Coming in at number 5, we have Yena from I-dle, who's under the same company as Woods actually. Yena only has 1 mini album, so there's not too much to go off of there, but that 1 mini album is fan-frickin-tastic, and Smiley still remains as one of my overall favorite releases of 2022 so far. I really underestimated Yena prior to her solo debut because I wasn't sure if she'd be able to command the stage all by herself, but she 100% proved me wrong, and I couldn't be happier to see it. Obviously, she still is a new artist, so there's no telling what she could release next, but considering what she did in her debut, I have extremely high hopes for her, and she's definitely someone that I think everybody should be keeping their eyes on.
Come and go.
In the number 4 spot, we have Eunbi, also from I.dle, and to be completely honest, she's only here because Glitch is one of the best things that I've ever heard in my entire life. I liked her debut song Door at first, but it aged pretty quickly and I never listened to it anymore. But Glitch has not aged a day since its release, and currently, though there is 1 or 2 songs that I enjoy more from 2022, things change and it might end up being my song of the year. If she releases more music like Glitch, then you know I'm gonna be hopping on the Eunbi train, but we'll have to wait and see if that happens. And if you haven't already, after this video of course, I really recommend that you give that song a listen. In the 3rd spot, we have Kim Woo-sok from X1, and Woo-sok is a pretty promising artist if you ask me. He has 3 mini albums out, all of which I consider to be above average if nothing else, and all of his title tracks are nothing short of addictive. He's an extremely versatile artist who's done a cute concept, a sexy concept, and a rock concept all in just 3 mini albums, and what's even more impressive is that around 80% of his music is all self-composed. Unfortunately, I think he might be venturing more into the acting route and might be giving up on his music career, because at this point he only has around 1 comeback per year, but if he does just release an album a year, I would be more than happy because the music that he puts out is like quality over quantity, you know? So yeah, I'm a fan of Woo-sok, and if you haven't checked him out already, then you really should. In the number 2 spot, and this was a very close race to number 1, we have Chungha, who at one point actually used to be my all-time favorite female solo artist. She's known for some incredible songs such as Gotta Go, Snapping, and of course Roller Coaster, and I mean deserved. You would be insane to try and disrespect those tracks. But I also want to highlight the fact that she has a discography full of some incredible B-sides. Tracks like Young in Love, Make a Wish, and my all-time favorite Bother Me did not get nearly as much love as they deserved, and you cannot deny that Chungha has earned all of the fame that she's gained over the years. She basically started the trend of former Produce Group members becoming soloist, and for good reason. I mean, who wouldn't want to be like Chungha? And I don't think it would be too much of a reach to call her the blueprint. She hasn't released music in a while, which makes me sad, but it's rumored that she's gonna have a summer comeback this year, and hopefully she can reclaim the fame that she gained during Roller Coaster era. Chungha is like the definition of greatness, and she needs to come back and show everybody how it's done, because nobody else can do it like her.
Don't you look behind. Oh my.
Finally, ending off this list at number 1, we have Kang Daniel. And at least domestically in Korea, I don't think it would be too much of a reach to call Kang Daniel the most famous person on this list. He's my all-time favorite male soloist and my second favorite soloist in general, right behind Hyolyn, and he really just has all of the qualities that it takes to be a true star. He can sing, he can dance, he can rap, he has a personality of gold, and he has a brain to back that all up, considering he founded his own entertainment company. And I just love every single thing about him, especially his music. While his most recent album wasn't my favorite, he first caught my attention with Paranoia, and his first 3 albums that he had at the time were ones that I just fell in love with. My favorite at the time and my favorite now is still the Scion one, which had the title track To You, and it was just such a lovely album. You have to listen to it yourself to understand what I mean. I love everything about Kang Daniel, and he's honestly such a role model to me, and when I sat down to make this video, I was pretty damn sure that he was going to be at number 1, and turns out I was right. Kang Daniel is so great, and if you're going to check out anybody from this video, please let it be him. And that concludes this video. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed. I tried really hard to make this video good, and if you think it was, then consider leaving a like, and if you want to see more from me, consider subscribing. Let me know what your personal ranking would be of the 17 artists on this list, and without further ado, thank you all again for watching. I'll see you next time.